100% DJ is saying it in the WAP videos if you're listening. He doesn't really go like, okay, we're on above EQ or we're in discount or whatever. Sometimes he says it, but he's aware because his eyes have been trained to see the range without saying it out loud. So then he'll say, like, I don't like this one, and a lot of the times because it's on the wrong side of premium and discount. But I like this one, and if it gets down to this one, then I think I'm off sides. Why? Because it already did something relative to that range. But I said I wasn't going to say anything, but I am going to get ready for work here in a minute. To answer your, so what do you like to go by? Because it says MSD 047. Like, what do you prefer to be called? Because that's a mouthful.
Just MSD is fine.
Okay, MSD. So, like, in general, don't get caught up. I mean, I'm sure Pitt would agree with this. Don't get caught up in the pattern of the soup. That's the thing that you're anticipating and wanting to see at a point of interest that you've previously identified. And based on getting the soup CISD, where's it going to go? Like, what's your draw? And if your draw is EQ of the range for a retracement, which would be, and what's at EQ? What significant PD array, if anything, is there? And if there is, then that's why we target EQ as the range, because all it does is need to rebalance said range. And EQ would be in balance, right? Well, if there isn't a PD array there, then maybe you're getting one of those external range to external range runs, like low resistance liquidity, for example. Like so for me in my head, I think I said it on that vid, was high resistance liquidity runs it has to break through PD arrays to get through them. Why? Because that's resisting the price. Price would only need to go that far before it bounces back in the direction it came from. If there aren't any, then that's low resistance, right? It's just going to cut right through them. And if price is cutting through those PD arrays for the opposite order flow, then it's doing what? It's disrespecting them. That's where you get the whole IFVG entry model from, that it disrespected this, bearish order flow by cutting through it, making an IFVG, so we're bullish now. Well, true, that is a truism. Where are you at in the range when it did that? And what else is going on? Otherwise, you're just blindly slapping the IFVG. So the same thing applies with soups and change in states. That's why every soup is not a chance for a trade. It's an opportunity for trade given the narrative. What do you think the draw is? And are we on the right side of premium and discount when it happens? Which is what I was getting at in the pictures I'm putting in chat. Like Maze said, like, oh, I would need to see this and that. Well, by then it's too late. So where it is right now, form an idea so that when it engages with price at that point, then you're ready to go and execute on your model, because your model has to be inside the narrative. Otherwise, you're clicking the model and coming back later going like, I don't know why these didn't work, or worse, yay, I made a bunch of money today, but you didn't realize that you actually probably took a low probability trade on the wrong side of premium discount, and it just worked out that time. So that was a long-winded answer to your question. So which ones work and which ones don't? Is it a retrace, or is it distribution for the other side? When you are framing your idea of taking the trade, where do you think it's going to go? That's your draw. That's sort of the difference between pattern and narrative trading.
Yeah.
So I'm getting at, I mean, like, Datman's in here now, right? I thought I saw him.
Yeah. Thanks for the insights, Punk. But I'm getting pretty much better at entering based on turtle soups. My question was about like holding a trade, because from Pitbull's videos, I tend to hold it till the whole narrative tells me otherwise. And I definitely take some TPs throughout the way. But my question is, from time to time, and quite often, frankly speaking, when I expect a trade to go longer, I tend to miss those reversal soups when I should be exiting a trade, on my runner or vice versa. Or at the same time, when I try to spot them, I tend to, again, from time to time, but more often than not, I tend to exit the trade prematurely, because it can, like turtle soup, let's say we're bullish, it turtle soups the highs, it goes lower than turtle soups the lows, and just continue upward movement. So
in that last example, internal soup the high, right?
yep.
Got it. So, but you're already you're bullish for a higher target. Got that.
Yeah,
I'm
and
visualizing
I'm
your
like
trade.
I'm in my runner. It turtle soups. It creates CISD, and that's when I tend to overcomplicate things. If it's gonna if it's a reversal thing or it's just a retracement, and I should hold it for longer because I just can't enter like every single turtle soup as you've said.
The where I was leading with that is like the latest DJ tip that he pulled up from the thing I said on the chart review the other day. The thing that gets you into a trade should be the thing that gets you out of a trade. Mm-hmm. So in your example, I'm bullish and just souped the high or a high that's probably in deep premium, right? And then it gave me a change in state of delivery. Well, you're in a trade. You're wanting longs. What if you weren't in a trade? What if you were going like, I'm waiting for this soup at this high to then give me a change in state to do what? Go short. So you have somebody sitting out there going like, I got everything I needed for shorts. If you're in that trade for longs, recognize that if I was looking for shorts, everything just happened for me to take a trade short and my model presented. So that's when you kind of have the hair on the back of your head stand up and go like, this might be the end of the run. Maybe I should consider moving my stops at the very least, if not cutting the trade altogether. And then what if you're wrong? So what? You exited at a place that was valid based on the chart. Your trade executed. You executed your plan at least to that point because that probably would have been a TP point, right? So you're good. Embrace that. Embrace that you planned your trade and the trade you played out and you traded your plan. If it goes on without you, that is fine. Take the breath and go, hey, all right, it went on without me. But I saw everything that if I was on the other side, I would have taken the reversal of what I was in. So, and if that thing didn't happen, then yes, you exited prematurely. A soup without the change of state, I joke, but for the most part, for the people that are trying to get on board with this, a soup without CSD is shit. The CSD confirms the soup. And for that matter, if you want to take it for what it's worth, the change of state of delivery, if it confirms the soup, what would it also confirm? That's sort of a riddle. If you get soup on NQ, but you fail to get soup at the same place on ES, what is that?
SMT.
So if you get the change in state that confirmed the soup, what does it also confirm? You just said it.
SMT.
Okay, so without the change in state, you also don't have a confirmed SMT. It's just a pattern. Something.
Okay, it makes sense. Yeah.
Something for people that are in the room right now to write down and maybe go back test and see how true that is. Because how many people chased SMTs? Oh, look, NQ took the high, but ES didn't. That's an SMT, so I'm going short right now. And then no change of state happens, and it was just a retrace to then explode higher. What happened? The SMT didn't work, and I don't know why. It wasn't confirmed.
Yeah, I used to be one.
Dude, it's been a minute since I've heard your voice. I can hear a lot more confidence in your voice. So you've been doing the work, man. Good on you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Anyway, hey, you got a full room here. Hey, Maze, appreciate you participating in that over there. Yes, you were right. That's the daily chart, but the point was it's fractal, and look at it that way. I got asked about what I meant by has the objective been met piece. Well, for today, I would make the argument that once price ran up to that BPR that I put on the chart, and then it retraced from there, that the objective was met. And if you're looking at that, even the name of DJ's video is higher time frame market buy model. So if the market buy model effectively is over now because we've retraced to a balanced price point, then get off the, not you, but anybody, then get off the charts. It's Friday. Is it going to take that high today? Is it going to run 700 points in the last hour? Probably not. I mean, that would be awesome for people that waited around. What's it most likely to do at this point? Does it need to take that buy-side liquidity level that I marked, which would be the internal high inside the city? It doesn't need to. You can make the argument that that is a protected high. Why? Because you got a change in state out of that, and it ran all the way down. You could make that argument. And we're balanced price here. So if I was sitting here right now, and that was a 3-minute, 1-minute, 5-minute fractal picture, I'd be going like, I can make an argument for shorts. What would be the argument for shorts? Well, we've already tapped the BPR at a significant point. We souped the most recent internal high, which came off of already a change in state. So that could be as far as it needs to run. So if I wanted to see further shorts, I'd want it to see print a change in state off the current price action to run lower. And then how far lower would it go? It could go to EQ of the range. Does it need to do that? Probably not, because it already did the market structure shift 2022 model turtle soup bounce off of that. But it could, if it did go that far and continued, then yeah, I'm on the right side of order flow, because it gave me another soup change in state of direction. And since it already did that other stuff and rebalanced, then now, based on what it's looking like, I could be seeing the whole other side of the range. Am I saying that's going to happen on the daily? That's not what I'm going to say what's happening. What I'm saying is that just taking that picture of a fractal, have in your mind what you're anticipating with your points of interest, and then execute when price engages with that if your model presents for the narrative you built. Versus what I'm getting in the DMs a lot of, hey man, I missed my entry and I FOMO'd into my trade, and then I over leveraged because I lost and I blew up another 5 copy traded accounts. I'm like, well, you answered your own question right there. You did everything. You know, what's your model, and why didn't you follow it? And so, yeah, I appreciate you playing along. I wasn't trying to like single you out, but very cool that you did that. You also have come a long way with the way you're annotating and charting and seeing. So, because we've been talking for a while. So, I'm gonna bounce out, dude. I have to get ready for work, but I'll come back later and listen what you guys are doing.
Sure thing. Thank you, Punk.
Cool.
Alright, boys. So we can probably start now. We will go over Friday, 14 March PA. I just gonna mark out the liquidity points as always. And the main point of the session will be, we'll just go over SUP CISDs. You know, as we probably all know this model, DJ is going to do that account challenge, you know, so we can kind of like, you know, go over that. So yeah. Alright, so current candle 307. We are kind of retracing lower. We are retracing or rebalancing the previous range. We do have some sort of liquidity below us. Also right below us is 10 a.m. from the previous day. That's this you know, line chart. Line. No. You mean what I mean? This basically line. That's previous 10 a.m. opening. So most probably just go right here for liquidity, maybe even lower. And yeah, I just mark out basically this line right here because possible manipulation, SUP fares, ring closing low right here. This is our CISD that basically pushes lower. And now if you'll be able to close above that 306, that will be another CISD to the higher. So that's basically just that line, and yeah, we can run it. Okay, so now we are closing below this green candle, creating another order block. We are really close, basically creating weak lows right here. So we really want to see that to be taken. Okay, we took liquidity right here because of that 830 candle. We have SUP right here. Right now, what we need to see for higher is closure above 309. If we'll be able to close right here, then potentially we could be looking for, you know, little rebalance of the previous range, maybe, you know, to take some sort of internals. Until then, we are not touching anything. Some of you may argue like also entry after we close above that 312 candle. That could be possible long entry. Yes, it could. It's a little premature, and I want to see just, you know, clean setups. And for now, nothing yet. Yeah, basically. So again, we need to wait for that closure above 309 right now. Okay, now we are closing, but for now we are not distributing. Also, I don't like how we are just building LR right here. Meaning this gives me a thought, we might just rebalance the previous range and take the lows again. Also, currently we are inside this little internal range, and now we hit 50%. So we'll see what's going to happen right now. We are still kind of forming that LR. So again, that's a red flag for longs. Okay, now we are getting somewhere, okay? Pretty good candle, but right now we are inside the EQ of the range. So what I want to see is either sort of rebalance and then possible, you know, order block continuation entry, or this as well might be just a little fake out and us closing lower or below that 324 candle would mean that we took liquidity right here, we took internals, and the closure right here would be CISD that should push us then lower, basically taking that LR below us. Those are currently two scenarios that I'm looking at or looking for. We can delete these lines for now. We already took this and we took this liquidity. Okay, internal sub at the highs. Kind of going lower. So now again, closure below. That's your entry. For your TP would be that low of 312, and your stop would be the high of 326. Okay, a little candle right here. Once we will be able to close below this candle, that's trigger. After that, we should just run lower. Okay, this candle, we are closing basically below that 324. We are closing below the order block, and also we left this huge wick. Usually, when the candle, you know, does this, more time than not will come back for that wick. So now it's up to you if you want, you know, to enter right here after we took most of it or not. For now, we'll just wait and see if we actually reach it low. And yeah. Isaac, your mic is on. So okay. So now we'll just wait and see if we'll be able to take that liquidity point. If we will be able to take that low, possibly soup it, we might be looking for next trade, next entry. Okay, so now we are taking that low of 330 candle, and we are taking the lows right here of that LR. Also right now, we do have 4 consolidated candles going lower, taking liquidity. We might actually have the 10 AM tap. We will see. Okay. So now, technically we are souping the previous candle low. Now we are pushing higher. Right now, we are inside the range of 326 being the high, to the most recent low being 334 candle. And for now, if we are bullish or if we want to see some long entries, we need to close above 330. Then basically what would have happened, we took liquidity right here, we rebalanced the previous range, and we also took internals. So after we were able to close right here, possibly we could be expecting some sort of you know, bigger retracement higher. Possibly we do have those smooth highs right here, also here. And this is the main point that I would be reaching for if we actually have some sort of buy model. Why? Smooth highs right here. Now we tapped 50% of the range. So two scenarios: closure below 334, we are going lower. Closure above that 330, I want to see higher. Internal sub of the previous candle. Technically, this is not the worst entry. It's still not clean. Still, we are at 50%. This also could be just rebalance. So we need to see more, but yeah, it's good to train your eyes, you know, to see these internal subs and everything like that, yeah. Okay. So now we're actually closing above. Only thing I don't like, we do have, you know, those 7 consecutive candles going higher, little red flag. But for now we are doing everything that we want to see. Sub at the lows, basically going a little higher, rebalancing internal sub at the 50% of the range, and closing the CISD. Now, this candle sub the previous candle low, closing, we are closing into the range of that previous candle, that doesn't matter. This candle is basically just retest of the CISD. So now, what we can do, we can enter right here. Can enter with 2 cons. Now, in terms of stop loss placements, in terms of stops, the safe spot for stop loss is 338. Why? Because of that internal soup. If we are bullish and we want to run, this low should not be taken again. You could technically argue like 341 is also good stop loss placement, but still we can go a little lower. You still don't know if we are going to run here, if this is, you know, the just retest, or we'll start just a little higher, you know, retracement or anything. Guys, whoever will have your mics unmuted and there will be just some noise, I'll just mute you for now, and after we are done, I'll just unmute you, okay? Alright. So now, retest, we are entering. Stop loss is going to be that you're good, Tompan. Nothing happened. I'll just unmute you once we are done. Yeah. So again, 338, that's our stop. In terms of TPs, if I'm correct and we are going to run, technically the first TP should be 326, but if we get strong closure right here, that will technically be the confirmation for bigger time frame CISD, and then I'll be looking for these highs to be taken, at least these highs on the left. So we'll see what's going to happen. Okay, we are suping the highs, but not yet closing above them. Now we are closing, strong candles going in. Okay, this is perfect. Also, after those candles, we are taking some sort of liquidity. Right now, we can put our stop loss below this order block right here, below that 341 candle. Why? Because if we flipped and we'll go back to that order block or to that 342 candle, that would be more bearish than bullish. I don't want to see us, you know, I don't want to see any retracement. I don't want to see anything like that. Maybe we can retrace to that 326, but other than that, I want to see just pure run for those highs right now. Okay, suping. This is technically our first FEG in the model, I think. I don't like this one. After the expand is the first FEG right there. So I still want to see a little higher. Okay, we are taking those highs on the left. Definitely we can take one off right here. One off. Also, technically you could put your stop right now. If you want to trail, you could put your stop to that 345. And yeah, Now we'll just wait for something clear again. We are souping the highs on the left. So now we'll either close above this candle, and that would mean that we do have order block, which is another possible entry for long, or this could be also as well just start of some sort of new rebalance or anything like that. Yeah. Okay. For those of you that are not able to see ranges yet, range low, range high. We need to see how we react inside of 50% of the range. If we are bullish, we should still hold this range. Okay, we are out of the trade. Internal soup inside of that 50% range, which is, basically perfect right here. So now what we need to see if we want to go higher, technically the closure above 350 and that dotted line would be nice. Then I would be kind of expecting us to take high one more time, at least one more time. If not, and we are bearish, the closure below that 352 candle, we should go lower. Okay, we are kind of closing that CISD. In the same time, guys, we do have, pretty much straight run higher. We rebalance the range for the bulls, and now we also may just rebalancing the range for the shorts, meaning the range high, the range low. Now we just tapped 50% of that. You always need to have in your mind, the both scenarios, the both directions. So for now, is this screaming? Not really. Not really for me. Internal soup at high. So now with this type of the closure, internal soup, if we close below that 352, I won't really see lower. But then also this could be our potential manipulation in the same time. So I don't want to really see us taking lows again, but we may just take that order block low or this internal liquidity right here at the 338 candle. I'll also delete a few of these lines so it will be cleaner. Okay, right now, if this is our manipulation, turtle soup, fair swing, we do have internal soup right here. We push lower, created order block right now, and we are closing below the order block. If you want to have little premature entry, right now, what PA is showing us, we should go lower. By this single candle, like this candle is telling you, like, we should go lower. How much lower? At least for this low. If you want to be more scalpier, you could put your stop at the high of that 356 candle. In the same time, it goes against DJ teachings, because in DJ teachings, your stop needs to be at that 355 candle high, but still, right now this should go lower. Internal soup, your order block. Okay. If you want to still see longs play out, this might be pretty good spot, EQ the range, order block right here, this should hold, if you are still bullish. Okay, pretty huge wick. What I told you guys about those wicks, I want to see the wick, to be taken one more time. Internal soup at high, going lower. So now, we soup that previous candle, also we take both of those targets that we had, meaning that low of 338 candle and also that order block low. We took that. In the same time, we basically right now took the internal low right here. The same candle that took internal low or that took liquidity is closing above the previous candle. That's a really strong signature of the lows and the rebalances. I love that. So now I want to be looking for longs, or at least for the rebalance of the range. Since we are looking for, in this backtesting session, just for sub CISDs, we'll wait. We'll wait for something else. Okay. We are not yet closing about that 404 candle, but once we close above, we might enter. Internal soup will be kind of your next order block, and then I'll be looking for us to take the high of 347. Yeah, 347, and possibly we might go even higher. And still, if these are manipulation, turtle soup, we just now created the fair swing of the move. Another internal soup at the lows. Okay, internal soup at the highs. And then now we are closing. About the accumulation, we have another internal soup right here. So now I want to see, after this move, I want to see a run. In terms of stop, our stop can go below that 407 candle. Why? Because that candle soup the liquidity right here. So we can put it right there. And again, in terms of TPs, I want to take my first TP at 347 high. Why? Because if we take that possible fair swing, we should then also take that 347 high. Retest. Okay, scary candle. For now, it's again just retest of the previous accumulation high. There is our confirmation. Awesome. Okay. Now we should see some big candles. Okay, we serve the high. We can take one off right here. So right now, are we going to look for longs or shorts? I mean, we just took liquidity, you know, on the highs, at the highs. So right now, I don't want to look for any longs at the moment. Again, we are now closing higher. Oh, give me a second, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, so now what happened? We are closing about the previous highs. Now, possible retest. Possible retest. Okay, still we are holding those previous highs. Once we close about at 418, then we may be looking for another long. After that, you know, I'll be looking for us take those orange lines because there is nothing other here. Internal sub at highs, and we are accumulating. Again, where are we accumulating? We are accumulating above the highs of the previous range. For now, still bullish. Bam, that's the candle. So now, if you're in a trade already, you could put your stop, you can trail it, you can put it basically below that 419 candle. Or if you're not in any trade, this candle, you know, should be the trigger one that should take us to those orange lines, basically. Internal sub at the highs. Okay, this candle, internal sub at the lows, we basically rebalance the previous range, and we are closing higher with, you know, with this type of candle. I really want to see us taking those highs again, those orange lines. Okay, we close yet another order block. We are really close to those orange lines, so we'll see. Okay, now basically we push higher. We took some sort of internals right here. Now we, took it lower. This candle internal sub at highs and closure below that 427 candle. So now what we can kind of expect is rebalance of the range, meaning the range low to the range high. Basically, if we are correct, we might tap that 419 low, where is also our stop loss. So now what we can do is either, take the whole position off and wait for next clean entry, or we'll just withstand whatever, is going to happen. Also, in the same time, you can argue like you could put your stop below that 425, which I have nothing against it because, it's an internal soup and yet another impulsive candle going higher. So again, if you are bullish, we shouldn't come back to it, but with, this, we might experience some sort of rebalance to that 50% of the range. So yeah, we will just close it and wait for something clear. Also, for now, 5 red candles going lower. We create equal lows. I would like to see that being swept. Also, take a look on those wicks. Every time we see some sort of accumulation, and if we do have so many wicks on one side, I'm usually looking for take the trade in other or in the opposite side of those wicks. Meaning right now, I want to see longs play out. Why? Because those wicks is showing me like we don't want to push it lower, at least for now. Right here, internal soup, the same candle is closing about the previous one. Where we are on the left, inside the order block, inside the previous accumulation, and we are still respecting the previous highs right here. What does it mean for us? We can enter right here, we can put our stop technically below the same candle, and if we are still bullish, we should take that high and finally those smooth highs on the left. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. Technically, if you want to leave a little more breathing room for this trade, you can put your stop below that 419 order block. Both of them are pretty correct, I would say. But again, I'm encouraging you guys, go and backtest these candles. The candle that's soup, some sort of internal liquidity, and the same candle is closing above or below the previous candle. You will be amazed how powerful those are. Again, in our soup CISD, this candle is closing above that what's the highest point? Let's say 440. That's our CISD right here. So now I would like to see continuation higher. Not a huge fan of those 4 candles. It's kind of like lacking speed, I would say, and also lacking strength. And also we are tapping order block on the left. Internal soup and big scary candle. Okay, so now if this is the top, this is our fair swing. But if it's not the top, this for now is just rebalance of the previous range, meaning we need to bounce right here. We can't go lower. Why we need to bounce right here? We are now retesting the CISD level. And we definitely can't close below that 443. That would be bearish. Internal soup right here. kind of souping. Also, as we know, every single candle is arranged by itself. So now we just rebalance that big red candle. Right now, if you'll be able to close below that 451, it's more bearish for me than bullish. Also right now, no touch zone. Why? We are at 50% of the range and we are accumulating. So now we are just going from the internal highs to the internal lows, from the internal lows to the internal highs. This type of the PA, you will most likely blow your accounts. Internal soup, this kind of closing like this, basically escaping kind of the range right here. I like this one. Right now, I want to see the closure above that 450. And after that, I will pretty much anticipate that we are going higher finally for those highs on the left. Okay, internal soup. Another internal soup at the lows right now. We are closing above that 502 candle. This is entry by itself. Internal soup, closing order block. If you're entering right here, you could put your stop just below that 503 candle. In the same time, you need to see a legs right now. Yep, there we go. Strong candle closing of the previous high. Now we should see distribution. Okay, not a huge fan of that candle, but still just rebalance. For those of you that are trailing the stop, the low of 503, if we close below that, we might go even lower to take that LRLR that we just built up here. We're kind of closing the CID right there. Okay. Okay, we took liquidity. The same candle is closing above the previous candle. We'll see. Okay, then a closure above 510 candle is yet another CISD higher, and then I would finally like to see some push higher above those orange lines. What I'm seeing right now, we do have LRLR right here. We also do have LRLR right here. Not a huge fan of how we just printed like those 6 small candles going higher, but in the same time, the PA is doing exactly what it should be doing. You know, we are closing above that CISD level right here. So now only thing that we are lacking is distribution higher. Can I retest? Okay. We are again closing this candle above that 520, creating order block. And finally, we are taking those orange lines plus that 427 high. So now we can take it all. We can take it all. Also, right now we are souping that liquidity. We are not closing above it. What does it mean? I'm definitely not looking for long entry right now. Why? Because if we're not closing above it, that's the first thing. And another thing, we just took liquidity. So we need to see more. We need to see either some order block, another CISD, you know. We can't just enter because, you know, we will just close above the highs. It's something different if you're inside the range and we have clean draw. That's a different story. But now we are taking, you know, these smooth highs and we're just sweeping them. So yeah. I do like this candle. Basically, we took liquidity on the left. Those two candles rebalance that singular candle, meaning this would be the whole thing. We just tapped 50% of it. And then this candle is closing below that 525 candle. At the same time, we do have a lot of LR. So it kind of makes sense for me that we might just have some sort of retracement rebalance. Okay. I won't be taking this, but we should go at least for this internal low right here. Possibly we'll take even these lows. Okay, we are souping internals right now. Another soup, 535 candle. I think this candle just reached the EQ. What is the range right here? Yeah. So now again, this is just, you know, it's kind of no touch area. Why? Because it's 50% basically. There's nothing more to it. And I'm not convinced, you know, that this is our top. I'm not convinced this is our bottom right here. Right now I need to see more. Also, we are just inside accumulation. I would like long entry after you'll be able to close above that 536. Why? Because this move kind of took internals right here. You'd have internal soup, CISD. Now let it rebalance inside the 50% of those two candle range. So then the closure above that 536 would create an order block right here that then I would like to see long entry. Then it may make more sense to me. Okay, 540 candle basically just took liquidity. Okay. So right now we are building LR right here with those highs. Now this candle basically, we created equal lows right here, but we souped the previous candle. We are closing strongly above that 546. Now I would like to see us taking at least the 536 high. That should be the like easy target after that candle. Okay, we took that one. And right now, 7 green candles, you know, just going higher, just kind of slopey way, you know, it's not, there is no speed, there is no strength in those candles, which brings me idea that this might be just rebalance, maybe to retest the previous CISD right here, and then we might push it lower, take those equal lows, and maybe even lower, you know. So just kind of idea for now. Okay, so now we are souping the previous candle high. Candle closing like this technically should be spark remove if you are correct, and this is, you know, for now the top. We just basically retested at CISD, and we actually should go lower right now. If you're going to take this, you know, your stop needs to be at a candle high. Then technically you can take scared partial at the lows, at the equal lows right here, and then possibly, you know, 10 AM right here, or after that technically where's people stops, you know. If you take that, technically, you know, 543, and then I'll be looking for the lows to be taken one more time. Also, just I will delete all of these lines so you will have a clean chart again. Oh, this is our stop, this orange line, this orange line. Okay. Internal sub with the previous candle. 6 a.m. opening. So now again, if we will be able to close above that 554 candle, more bullish. If we will be able to close below that 547, I definitely want to see lower after that. Internal sub at the lows. Okay, we are supping the lows again. I would like to see distribution candles lower if you want to actually want to go lower. Also the same thing that I told you before, like, you know, those wicks, those are telling us that we are not ready to go lower yet at the same time. Range high to range low. Okay. That candle should be the spark. So now we can reduce our risk. We can reduce it from that 544 candle high to that 611. And now we should see some lags. So what happened right now? We just rebalance the move. Basically, we just went to the OTE. We have internal soup. This candle creating CISD right there. If you're not in any trade, you know, once we were crossing that CISD level, we could be in a trade. So now we are kind of just retesting those previous lows. And bang, we are closing below that equals. So now technically we can take that one scared partial, like we were talking about. Our stops still need to be at that high, because, you know, if we put it right here, if we'll experience some sort of retracement, we just might get hit. There is no logical placement other than that high right now. Okay, we are supping the lows. So now again, range high to the range low. We are tapping the 50% of the range. So now internal sub at high, closure below that 616. I want to see even lower. How much lower? 419 low, technically at 10 a.m. tap, and after that the overall low right here, basically at 334 would be the next target. Also, if you want to trail our stop, the high of 619 candle is not the worst idea. Why? Because if we close above it, that would be red flag basically. Okay, we'll go over this fractal really quickly. Just if you want to be too zoomed in, what just happened? We pushed it lower, took some sort of liquidity, we rebalance it right now. Those two red candles rebalance that bullish range. The green candle rebalancing the range for the shorts, and the candle 622 is taking the previous candle high, basically supping the high, closing below that 621, creating order block. By itself, this candle should be or could be the next entry for shorts. Meaning we can definitely put our stop right now at that 619 low. Or technically even at 622, but that's a little too much. Now we are closing those 616, we are retesting it, we are closing. Now we want to see legs. Okay, maybe not yet. We're rebalancing until we are not closing above that 622. Everything's okay. There we go. 632. Okay. So now again, we are tapping at 10 a.m. with candle closing like this. I would like to see a little deeper, a little lower. Retracements. Internal sub at the low. Okay, so what just happened? We had a little accumulation, we escaped from the accumulation. We basically took, so the liquidity on the left, we rebalanced the range from, if you take the range low from 402 to that most recent high of 524. Yeah, 524. We just rebalanced that. Now we are pushing back higher. And if we will be able to close above that 642 candle, that would be actually more bullish than bearish. Internal soup, rebalance, and then this order block should take us higher. Meaning, if we close above that 642, I will be exiting the short right here, and I will be entering a long. Okay, that candle. Internal soup, candle closing like this above the order block. We are out of the shorts. We are entering the long right here. In terms of our stop loss, the low of 643 candle is the safest place. So we can put it right there. In terms of our TPs, if this is manipulation, soup, fair swing, technically I want to see us taking the highs again. It all depends how strong candles we'll have right here. Because in the same time, if we are still bearish, we just may take the internal highs right here, basically the little LLR, and push it back lower. So always, like I said, always have both ideas in your mind, in your head. Okay, we are closing strongly about the LLR, which is exactly what we want to see. Okay, we are retesting that 6 a.m. Perfect. Internal soup, candle closing over that order block. If we are not in any trade, this is another opportunity. Also, the same candle is closing above, these highs on the left, meaning we can right now take one off, just to be safe. If we want to trail our stop, technically 649 candle low isn't the worst spot. Why? Again, we are, taking, basically soup the previous candle, and the same candle is closing above that order block. What does it mean? I don't want to see this candle being flipped, so that's the reason why we may just put our stop loss right here. In terms of our other TPs, technically that high of 524, or possibly the orange line right here. Internal soup right here, I would like to see that candle high being Sweat one more time. Okay. Okay, so right now we took internal liquidity on the left. Not a huge fan of that 654 candle. Again, a huge wick. I would like to see us taking that wick again. And then if we take that wick, we should take also the orange line. Also, if you are starting some sort of rebalance, or if this is the top, for shorts, we need to see closure below 649. Until then, this is just rebalance for longs for me. If we close actually below that 649, okay, this might be a top. You know, possible manipulation, maybe. But for now, all of this is just a rebalance. Yes, Tompan, the session is recorded. And I hope I'm not making, you know, little harder things for you guys, because yeah, like it's clean, but at the same time it's just accumulation. So okay, that candle closing below that 659, not a huge fan of that. We maybe may have some sort of closure below that 649, which wouldn't be best for us. Okay, 705 internal sub at the highs. The closure above 657. After that closure, I would like to see us pushing higher. If not, and we close above or below that 702 candle, I would exit our long, and after that we may have a little deeper retracement. Yeah. Internal soup. Yet another internal soup. We are also souping the high of that 657 candle. So now again, closure below that 702, I would be exiting our long. Okay, yeah, we are out. So now what happened? Internal soup. We are closing below that 702, so technically we are creating yet another technically CISD or order block, call it however you want. And so now if we close below that 649, like even this is confirmation for lower, to be honest. Internal soup, this candle, we should go lower. Also, if that's the case, you know, internal soup, CISD, entry right here. The only thing I'm not totally convinced, I don't see where we are going right now. Like we just may take the internals right here or right here and push it back higher, or yeah. Like this screams short to me, but I'm not sure what I want to target, because I don't think that we'll take the low again right here at that 635. Meaning I'm not sure, I'm staying out of the trade. I'm just watching it for now. Also, just a little gem for you. What actually confirms the turtle soup? Does anybody know? You can type it on chat or just unmute yourself. One.
Can you repeat the question?
What is confirmation for turtle soup?
Is that USD?
Yep, exactly. Yep, that one, Sami. You got it right. Yep. Yep, exactly. Awesome.
That candle there where it confirmed the CISD for short.
Yeah.
I mean, that soup the low on the left, and it also took the EQ of the range. So if we enter that, if we enter at the close of that candle, we need to be cautious there, right?
Absolutely, yeah. 100%. But in the same time, you know, the body of the candle is closing below that range, so that's kind of giving me like the vibe that we might go lower. Also, in terms of our model, possible manipulation, we took liquidity on the left, little rebalance, fair swing, and now we maybe have some sort of distribution lower. You know, that's the reason why I told you like we might go lower right here after that closure. And also the reason
It's
why.
like when sometimes like when I see that the body is closing, creating the CSD, but the wick is like swooping the low or the high. That really busts me out. And then I'm just keep waiting and just miss the move.
I mean, there is nothing wrong with
That's
that,
alright.
you know. If
Yeah,
you are
okay.
not convinced that we are, like even for me, like right now, I wasn't so convinced, you know. That's the reason why I stay out of that trade, because there is nothing wrong if you are not convinced. There's nothing wrong with just, you know, sitting and just watching the trade. If it hits, you know,
Sure.
that's awesome. If it don't hit, like nothing happened, you know, it's all good.
Yeah.
So yeah, right now we are just watching. You are just waiting for that, you know, another dump clear entry. Also, we right now are at pre-market. You know, the market opens in 2 hours from now. So yeah, there's still a lot of candles, you know, in front of us. Okay, so for longs, this is the last possible spot where we can bounce, basically from this order block on the left. That's the last possible spot. I'm a huge fan of those candles. Those candles just reminding me of, you know, rebalance candles. Why? Small candles without strength. Also, the wiki candles, so. Okay. Okay, so now, if you are still long biased or if you want to still go higher, we basically bounce from that last spot where we could bounce. Also, we just retested the previous CID. Push it higher, order block. Right now we are retesting that order block. For now, I'm not sold for that, so we'll just wait for a bit. The closure above that 740 would kind of make me like more long biased than short biased. And now also look at those the difference. You know, these candles against these candles. Right now we do have strength, we do have, you know, power in those candles. Also, right now we are closing about at 714. So now I'm looking for the longs. Rebalance, or sorry, not rebalance, retest of that CISD right there. Internal sub at the highs, closure above 730. I'm in a long, targeting that 707, possibly again that wick or that 654 candle. There we go, strong candle, closure above that 730. Exactly what we want to see. We can enter right here. In terms of our stop loss, we can put our stop loss below the order block. Why? Because if we flip this candle, that 732 candle, then it's a huge red flag for me. That would be a really huge red flag. And so now first TP, technically if we take that 707 high, I would be looking for taking that 654. Another orbital closure. There we go. Candles legs right here. Beautiful. Even though we are in deep premium, I like this entry. Why? Rebalance, the candle closing right here above that order block. Now This sounds like now we should really take that high. DJ, remember, those are your teachings, so be careful. Retest. Okay, another retest. Closure above, confirmation. There we go. Awesome. To be honest, we can even take one off right here. Just don't be a D4 tick. Okay, now again, closure below that 746, more red flaggy in that area. We can create equal highs right here. Okay, that's good to know. Also little LRLR. The closure below 755, I would be really watching how price will react after that. Because if anything, this could be manipulation, soup, fair swing. In the same time, we did not took any important liquidity on the left. Before any, big move lower, I would like to see at least us to take that 654 wick, or possibly that orange line that we have right here. Might be S&T, sure. Okay, now, yeah, we close below, but that 801 candle is, kind of telling us that we might not be ready for shorts yet. Okay, closure above that 758. I want to see the high being taken one more time. Yep, there we go. Okay. And now we'll see if we will be able to take the orange line finally. Also, 4 consecutive candles, taking, the highs on the left. Internal soup, and we still did not take that orange line. So now again, evident scenarios. If we'll be able to close below that 801, more bearish. Everything inside of the range, the range being 801 low to the 809 high, everything is just rebalance for me until we get at the closure. Internal soup. If you still want to see higher, internal soup, CISD right there. Rebalance to the 50% of the range. Closure above that 816 should be the spark of the move. We are closing. It's not the best closure, but still we are closing. And there is big FU candle. We are finally taking that orange line. We can delete that. And we can be also out of the position. Okay, the next orange line is basically at 570, which is pretty far away. Also, we can just wait for the next manipulation, and yeah, we'll just take it there. Did we sub the low? No, we just create int equals. Okay, but still closure above, creating order block. Beautiful distribution. Okay, internal sum at the highs, we are closing below at 831. just by structure those candles, you know, little LR right here. We might go a little lower, rebalance the range. I'm not convinced this is the high. Like, I don't see any manipulation in here. From the range high to the range low. We're near 50%. Also, we do have 4, you know, equal lows right here. Okay, we are out of the trade. Is this good spot for shorts? To be honest, no. Why? We are at 50% of the previous range, and now we also took those internals. Okay, we are taking internal high right now. If we are bearish, we need to see closure below 844, then I'll be looking for potential short entry. If we are bullish, you know, right now we need to take the high again, to be honest. Like, yeah. We are at 50% of the range from 844 to 847, meaning no touch. Now we are closing below at 844. So what I told you, now I want to see us going lower. Yeah, meaning we can go a little short right here. We can put our stop at the high. And the first TP should be this kind of smooth lows right here. Then possibly, you know, we can take it even lower. Also, we do have like that no touch area from 9 to 9:30 around the corner, so we'll see what's going to happen. Okay, internal sub right here. If we close about at 856, that would mean that we just rebalance the range for shorts, and we might be a little too early in the move. Okay, we are closing below at 858 low. And now I would like to see candles going lower. In the same time, we're building liquidity at highs. Internal sub, the candle closing like this, about that 9 AM candle. That's a huge red flag right here. Now I'm looking to be stopped out of the trade. Yep, okay. Internal sub. Also in the same time, range high to range low. We just hit 50% by this move. So now again, if we close above 906, I want to see higher. If we'll be able to close below 903, I will re-enter the short with the same idea, or the first TP being that accumulation low right here, and then we do have that LRLR right here. Internal soup. Now closure below that 911 would be enough for us to kind of have that confirmation lower. Also from internal range, we just rebalance it. That's good closure right here. Our stop loss is going to that high of 912 candle, and you know, first TP, smooth lows, and then maybe 50% of the range, or yeah, we'll see. Also 9:13, so in the 15 minutes we do have that market open. Okay, we are breaking out of the accumulation right here. So now we want to see ideally some legs. Okay, we are really close to those lows right here. Yep, okay. We can take one off. Sorry. Internal sub, we just hit 50% of the range, meaning if we close below 923, I want to see lows being taken one more time. Okay, 928, we are souping the lows, we are not closing. 929, we are souping it again, we are not strongly closing below. So now market open. Market open could just soup the candle again, and it will push higher, closing above the 925, meaning after that I want to see strong distribution higher, taking that LR that we got here, basically that's those smooth highs, or market open will just print big red candle taking liquidity on the left. So those are two scenarios that I'm looking for at market open. Meaning if we are correct, we might just put our stop loss right here. And yeah, market opened. Here we go. Alright, so market opened, sub the lows one more time. Also, if we take the whole range, sorry, that's not the whole range right here. We can rebalance the whole range right here. We also rebalance the range from 719 to 832. And now internal sub, CISD in the same candle. I mean, the body is telling the story. We should go higher right now, with the first TP being that 832. It's huge stop. It's definitely a huge stop. I'm not advising to anyone to trade market open, but in the same time, when it's clean like this, I don't see anything wrong with that. Also, in the same time, you need to see legs right now. We don't want to see us coming back, you know, rebalancing it or anything. You want to see distribution with market open. Okay. Internal sub at the highs, not a huge fan of that. If we close above that 932 candle, another possible entry for long. There we go. We are taking the highs. To be honest, with those candles, I'm kind of expecting bigger distribution, possibly to those orange lines. Yeah, we can take one off right here. We can also put our stop loss below that order block, just to be safe. Awesome, and we're just cutting through them. Now, internal sub at the highs, meaning we do have the range from market open low to this most current high. Also, more time than not, first move lower after each expansion, or the first move in the opposite direction, is usually the fake out. Just, you know, just to put it there. I'm not saying like this is the fake out, just, you know, you know, so yeah. If we close above the 940, I'll be looking for us to take the high again. Okay, we are closing above the 940. Meaning still, if I'm wrong and this is the high, the closure below 943 would tell me that we might go lower. How much lower? 50%. possibly the market open low. Okay, with 2 damage, but little story. Small bodies, basically closure above them will mean that we are going higher. Okay, we're not closing above them yet. Now we are closing. In the same time, we are kind of souping that high of 938. Next candle needs to close above. If not, the closure below 948, I would possibly looking for retracement, you know, possibly high of the day to be put in. Not high of the day, just high. Okay, now we are closing. Also, we can kind of throw our stop. Confirm. Internal sub at high. I'll just delete these orange lines right here. Okay. So now closure below 948. Red flag for longs. Okay, now we can swap off the our long internal sub right here. So now, if this is our manipulation, the 50% or OTE of this range needs to hold. Meaning we could put our fit tool from the range high to the range low. Also, what we can see right now, we did not close below 948, we just take liquidity. It makes total sense for us to retrace a little higher or to rebalance the previous range. It makes total sense. And now, closure below 953 candle, I'm looking for short entry, definitely. Right here, range high, okay. Okay, good start. Bang, there's closure below. Again, we are going basically from, you know, candle closures, but once the candle would be going below that 953 candle, you could be in a trade with your stop being that 954 wick. Again, thinking behind the trade, possible manipulation, soup, fair swing, closure lower that should be the trigger for the move. Since we are already near the 50% of the range, we are going just with one con. And our stop needs to be again at that high. To be honest, right now we want to see distribution lower. So technically, if you want to be more aggressive, you can put your stop loss at the same candle that is closing below that possible fair swing. Meaning, you can put it right here above that 957 candle, because if you flip that candle, it's a red flag. And in terms of our TPs, you know, 50% is the first possible one. Other than that, order block right here, or possibly you can aim just for that 930 low. We are closing below the order block. I would see big candle over. In the same time, we just hit 50%. 10 a.m. Bang, we took that 930 low. Huge wick right here. I would like to see that wick to be taken one more time. In the same time, you know, you will be most probably out of the trade. If you have your, you know, your TP, just put it right here. So, okay, in our instance, we just may, you know, put our stop loss above that order block, just to reduce our risk. And yeah. Then I am tap. Also 4 consecutive candles going higher. Okay, so right now, basically we went lower, we took liquidity from that 930, basically from the market open low, we took that, we rebalanced the previous range, and then now we're going lower, basically this candle internal soup at the high, closure below that 1010 candle. I will be looking for that low of 10 a.m. candle be taken one more time. Okay, there is the closure. In the same time, we are pretty close to it, so we'll just stay out. But it makes sense for me. Internal sub at the highs, basically closing right here below the order block. Also CISD right there. I would like to see us going over. Okay, we have the accumulation, big candle going lower. The next candle internal super like this. The closure above 1020 would mean that we might go a little higher. Meaning we may just rebalance, you know, this range, take internals, whatever. So yeah. Also possible accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Just a little, you know, smaller model, smaller fractal. Also another confirmation would be, for example, you know, SMT right here at lows. You know, the closure above that 1020 candle would confirm first the soup, like we said, and then the SMT. Because also, like, SMT is just confluence, it's not confirmation. Confirmation from SMT is CISD, changing side of delivery. Yeah, so that's another thing for you guys. So now, if you want to go higher, the closure above that 1025 would be our confirmation. If you want to go lower, closure below 1021 would be our confirmation. So now we are just accumulating, meaning once we went out the range high being 1011, the range low being 1021, the price should get more cleaner. Until then, it looks like we are just accumulating. Also, SMR time. We will see if we get something clean. Okay, now we are closing above that 1025. We are also closing above that 1011 candle. Meaning we can enter right here, put our stop basically below that candle of 1038. Why? Because again, we are escaping the range right now. If it went back into the range, it's a red flag for me. Of course, the most safe spot is basically the low of 1036, basically the low that started, you know, that move. Is this, you know, the best entry or the best trade? Not really. Why? We are at 50% of the range. Best spot for, you know, for shorts. In the same time, best spot for longs. Retest out of previous highs. We are basically, you know, closing above that 10 a.m., which is always nice to see. Okay, internal sub at the high. Okay, if we're going lower, 50% of the range needs to hold. Okay, beautiful tap. If we close above that 1041, sub, CISD, the next entry right there. What is the target? Possibly I will be looking for that high of 951 to be taken again. I mean, we are closing above. It's still not the best closure, but it's there. Entering here, stop loss down there, you know, below that 1043. Okay, Also, macro is starting. Internal soup at the highs. Not a huge fan of those 4 candles. In the same time, we are doing exactly what we need to be doing. Right now we also close about the 1007. Kind of, now we are just retesting the previous high. Okay, we are closing order block. Internal soup, we are not able to displace properly after we close above that high, which is kind of red flag. So now closure below the 1049, I would be really cautious above any longs. And then the closure below 1043 would be, yeah, really bearish at that moment. At the same time, this is the range low and this is the range high. Okay, we're tapping 10 a.m. Beautiful. That candle closing about the previous one. We're not souping the lows, but still, the closure above 1052, the high will be taken, or should be taken at least. Strong closure above. I want to see legs right now. I don't want to see any, coming back inside the range again, accumulation, blah blah blah. We need to run. Yep. There is our candles. And there is the high. We can take one off right here. We can delete these orange lines. And we can put our stop loss basically to that low of 1055 candle. So now what happened? We just take the high right here, and we also take the highs on the left, meaning, do I want to be looking for any long entry right now? No, not really. Not until we'll have some other confirmation in terms of, let's say, another order block or, anything like that. Some more candles without speed. Okay. Range low, range high. If we close above that red candle, creating order block, could be another bullish sign, another long entry possibly. We are souping the highs right here, a little internal soup. Okay, so now closure again above at 1105. I'm looking for another long entry. For now, there is nothing bearish about this yet. We are still just rebalancing. We did not hit even 50% of this little internal range. So for now, it doesn't make much more sense for me to look for shorts.
People,
yeah.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Do you remember the other day I asked you a question about like how do I know if the soup is gonna take us to EQ or it's gonna rebalance to like the bigger range?
Yeah.
So for example, like there, if I was in a long at the low the range you just put in, those 4 candles that close candles.
This one?
Yeah. So if I was in a long below, and then I saw that would be CISD, correct?
You mean the closure above those 4 candles?
No, the closure of the last the lowest. Yeah, that's what would create CISD. So that means bearish.
Yeah.
Order flow is coming in.
Yeah. Yes, but in the same time, you just rebalance the previous range and you took internal right here. Like I told you, the closure below 1049, it's a red flag. But the full, let's say, confirmation for lower would be the closure below the 1043 candle. because in the same time, like if you take the range low to the range high, you just rebalance the range and you took internal liquidity with tapping 10 a.m. in the same time. Meaning I would not be, flipping for shorts yet. Maybe if you flip that candle of 1056, like 1056, rebalance those 4 candles, and a closure below that candle, that would be really bearish for me. Then I'll be possibly looking for short entry. But
Up close would be a fair swing, right? If we
if it
reverse that
flipped,
up close.
yeah, yeah, possible fair swing, yep.
Yeah, because like sometimes like when I saw that the opposite order flow is coming, and I just panic exit my position. So if I exit at the lowest down close candle there,
Mm-hmm.
then I would be re-entry on the one that close above the high, right?
Yeah, I mean, the next range in here is basically that 1058 candle. You have basically internal soup, CISD, and then you will be looking for us to take the high of 951 again.
If I was to re-enter on that candle, so where would you put your stop loss? Below the candles or at the low?
I mean, the safest spot is that low of that 1055 candle. Why? Because there is internal soup right there. So we really should not be going down there, So that's the safest spot. In the same time, it's pretty huge range, like from the range high.
It's like
Yeah,
I know
it's
you said like when we're escaping the range, you shouldn't be coming back.
yeah.
So, like earlier, you said you put the stop loss as at the low of the
Mm-hmm.
candle, as
Like,
it's escaping.
I mean, you can do that. I'm not going to advise to the guys, but yeah, if you want to be more aggressive with your entries and everything, sure. After escaping the range, I usually don't want to see the candle be taken one more time or even being swept, Because what may happen, the next candle may just sweep the previous candle low and then run it, So you need to take, that in, your calculations that you might get stopped out. In the same time, right here, you would need to take either smaller size, which makes sense because, your ideal stop is down there, and down there, that's 50-point difference. So, yep. Okay.
Right, thank you.
Yep. So now, we close above the highs, and we are accumulating above the highs. What does it mean? We are still bullish for now. Also, we did not hit 50% of the range, so there is nothing bearish yet. Also, we are kind of building LR. Also, the same thing applied here. We do have many wicks right now at the highs, so I would like to see a little lower, possibly taking the low of that 1109 again, and then maybe we'll run it back higher after we tap at 50% of the range. And after we close below that 1110, that should be the trigger for us to, take us back to that 50% of the range. Yep, okay. So that candle, we close below it, and the same candle tapped at 50%, so we just rebalance the range right here. And now, in the same time, if we close above 1112 candle, that's basically your next entry for long. Internal soup, CISD. The easiest target is those highs right there, those smooth highs. And then I'm not sure if we have any more orange lines. No, not really. So we'll just go then from, from manipulation to manipulation, basically. Okay, so now we are closing. No, we just closed at the same. Okay, we're not closing yet. There's your retest, and the next candle should do it. Yep, there we go. Right, so if you are not in any trade, this is your next best spot. If you are in trade, like we are from down here, you can just put your stop loss below that 1113 candle. Why? Because we should not come back to it. Okay, we are closing above those highs. Later into a soup. So now what we can do, we'll just wait for sort of manipulation. Because again, I don't have any orange lines which is above us. We are taking the highs, closing above it. Also, we are at 11:30. A lot of reversals are going to happen at that time. So we need to be a little more careful. Also, the closure below 11:28 could be a little... It will be red flag for longs. Also, I'm not a huge fan how we are just kind of printing that LLR right here again. Now, internal soup. Kind of closing like this. The closure below 11:39 could start some sort of rebalance of the move. The range low to the range high. So 50%, okay. Right. We can also, trail our stop right here. To be honest, you could also put it at 11:38, but I believe after that candle, we will just take it. Okay, we're closing above or below that. We might as well just take it all right here. Just don't be greedy, and yeah, we'll take it. Okay. Internal soup at the lows, candle closing like this, basically creating another CISD. So now, if we are bullish, we technically should take the high again. In the same time, we are, basically at the lunch, and sorry, who was winning till now? The longs. So we maybe, we can see some sort of shorts playing out during the lunch. We are souping the high, we're not able to distribute it higher. Also, the candle is just rebalanced the range from 11:53 to the 11:55. Also, the soup. Okay, so the closure above 11:55. I would like to then see us coming back maybe to the highs again. Okay, there we go, and back inside the range. Okay, so now I want to see for lower closure below 11:53. If we want to go higher, we need to close again above that 11:57/11:58 candle. Okay, small candles, internal sub at high. To be honest, if we are bearish, this should be the last high. This should stay protected. The closure below 11:59 should be the spark of at least rebalance. And that would kind of mean like if this is a possible manipulation soup, we're just building that fair swing. Okay, we're not closing yet below it. Now we are closing. We can take 2 right here. Again, what's the best or the most safe spot for stop loss? 12:02 candle. Why? Internal soup. We should not come back to it. In terms of TPs, we can take one at 50%, and yeah, then we'll see how much lower we'll go. Sorry. Okay, so now we are closing below the order block, which is nice to see. Internal sub at the highs, so now we should see those legs coming in. Yep, legs. Now, if I'm correct, we hit that 50% low to the high. Yeah, with 50%, we can take one off right here. At the same time, if we are still bullish, we just hit 50% of the internal range, meaning the closure above that 12.11 would be a red flag for longs. Also, we can reduce our risk right here. Okay. Internal sub right there. Again, closure above 12.11. We may go higher. Okay. In the same time, we can reduce our, we can put our stop loss above that 12.15 high. Internal sub, possible CISD, not yet. Now we do have CISD. So now what happened? We basically rebalance the internal range right now. We have internal sub right here at the lows, and now this candle is closing like this. I would really like to see us coming higher. The thing is, we are also at 50% of this range right now. So now two scenarios that I can see. If you go a little lower, rebalance the previous candle and then close above, I will be entering a long. And yeah, if you go to lower, we just rebalance the range. The closure below the 12.17 would be the next possible entry for shorts. Okay, so now rebalance the range. We are closing technically below the 12.20, meaning if you are still bearish, this is the spot for short. This is the spot for entry right here. Closure, entry right there. Your stop needs to go at the candle high, and it should be Gucci for the low to be taken. If not, we are just retesting the CISD for longs to put it take it to highs again possibly, and confirmation for that would be us closing above 12.22 candle. Internal sub at the low. Internal sub at the high. So now that closure below 12.23 should do it. Okay, we are closing below, so now I would like to see us to take that 12.17 low again. Okay, we took it. Rebalance to the previous range. We're closing below again. So now technically we should see further distribution. Okay. In that scenario, technically your stop can go also at that 12.31 high. Your first TP being that low of 11.13, possibly that 10 AM. Yeah, 10 AM retest. Right here. Okay. So now internal sub at the lows, candle closing basically above, little above that 12.31 candle. In the same time, we hit that 50%, we rebalance the internal range. We built LR. Again, if we flip this candle, we may re-enter if we close strong enough. If not, and we want to go higher, the closure above 12.24 would tell us that we want to go for the highs again. Okay, we are closing above 12.24, we are closing even higher than that, which is nice to see. In the same time, we just took liquidity right here, so I'll stay out. In the same time, like, if you enter right here, you know your stop needs to go at the low. Why? Because again, we just took liquidity, so we may experience some sort of rebalance. I'm thinking like we just close about the order block, meaning I would like to see us going higher. If you do that, like, I'm not a huge fan of us putting our stop so close to it at the same time. It's just a little sus to me, like we just printed again that like 5 green candles, you know, closing above the highs. In the same time, we just may run right here. So yeah, I'll be a little cautious. I'll just take one right here. Yeah, I'm not sure where. That's the thing, like, by DJ teachings, our stop needs to go right here. By my logic, if we are closing above that point, above that CISD level, we just retested it. So now I would like to see us running higher. I want to see legs right now taking that high on the left. So yeah. Yeah. So if I would put my stop right here, I would be stopped. I'll be stopped right there. At the same time, right now the closure above 12.39 would tell us like, okay, this was just a rebalance, basically retapped of that previous highs on the left, and the closure above that 12.39, we will go for those highs again, to be honest, for that 11.45 at least. In the same time, closure above that 12.39 will be closing order block. We might put our stop loss below that that same candle. Now closing, basically escaping the range. So now if I would get if I would be stopped out in the first trade, this is my re-entry. Entering right here, putting my stop loss below the previous candle. Sorry. Yeah, and now we took basically that internal high, and we also took that 11.45 high. Meaning we also just, you know, can take it off, and yeah. Okay, internal sub right there, we rebalance the previous range, push it back higher. This candle is closing below that 1 p.m. Also, we took bunch of internal liquidity right here, meaning would I slap right here? Not a huge fan of that. If I would, our stop needs to go at a candle high. How big is that candle even? 30 points. Okay, that's huge. Internal soup at the low. Okay, strong candle. Internal sub at the high. If since we are flipping this candle, internal sub at the high, flip of that candle, I would like to see us taking the low of that 103 again. Meaning we can enter right here. Just 6, So 7-1. So now the first TP could be the closure below that low of 103 candle. In the same time, if we close below, that would be basically a next possible money soup Ferris wing, and then I would like to see us come lower at least to that 1239, taking the internal, or if we close strongly below that, even lower. Okay, kind of retesting that order block. Until we are closing above 109, we should be pretty much okay. Also, time-wise, macro is just ending. So, yeah. Internal soup at the lows. So now the closure above 109, we might bring it even higher. This candle rebalance for the previous range, also retesting of previous highs, basically the previous little accumulation that we had right here. So now, sorry, the closure above that 117 candle, possibly I will be looking for the highs to be taken again. So just something to, have in our mind. Okay, we are closing strongly below the 115 candle, meaning I would like to see this candle be, that spark of the move lower. Also, we can reduce our stop to that 116 high. Confirm. Okay, so again, closure above 117, possibly highs will be taken again. To be honest, this is the last spot where we can flip to the lower, closure below that 120. Then I'll be looking for the lows to be taken. Internal soup. Not yet. Closure below. So now I want to see legs, yeah. Internal soup, same candle closing like this. Beautiful. So now since we are closing even below that 1239, technically we can be looking for that low to be taken, 1232. That's, again, where's the people stops, is this low. So if you want to go lower, this low should be taken. In the same time, we hit 50%, we hit our internal liquidity. We will take one off right here. And we can put our stop loss to the high of 126 candle. Basically bring it to the break even. So now range low to the range high. We just hit OTE. Internal soup, this candle closing below that 130 candle. I would like to see the low to be taken one more time. Yep, there we go. Beauty. In the same time, we can again put our stop to that high, just to be more safe. And now, if you want to go lower, I would like to see the legs after that candle. Okay, the closure above that 132. We just put a bunch of liquidity above us, meaning I would not be so surprised if we just run it back higher. In the meantime, we are closing that order block right here, retest. Internal soup at the lows, we can reduce our risk even lower right here. And you can also see, like, we can just, put trend line right here. We can put trend line right here, it's just smooth liquidity. Or low resistance liquidity. Okay. So we're entering our next macro time. We rebalance those two candles. Basically right now, no touch area. The closure below 137, I will be looking for the lows to be taken one more time. The closure above 140, I want to see higher. Internal sub at the lows. Closure like this above that 147. I will be looking for lows to play out right now. Internal soup, we are not able to displace properly lower. We are just building LR at the highs, and also we kind of bounce from that order block on the left. Meaning we can now close our short. We can enter right now our long. Again, best spot for stop loss. This low, basically we soup it. We soup the previous internal lows right here. This should stay protected until now. In terms of our TPs, you know, we do have a bunch of liquidity in here. If you're really bullish, I would like to see just, you know, just run higher. Basically just cut through the LRLR. If you are not so bullish, you know, we may just rebalance it to the 50% and yeah, then maybe run it back lower. Oh, sorry. Just, yeah, okay, right here. Okay. Internal soup, the same candle is closing above the 152 candle. Damn, 50%. There we go, in 2 candles or 3 candles. We can take one off right here just to be safe. Now I'll be looking how we'll react after we'll, you know, either soup or close above that 132 candle. 2 p.m. is opening. Another CISD right here, basically just rebalance the range. Also, 2 a.m. opened, we just push higher, Devil's Mark right there. In terms of Devil's Mark is so much powerful if there is, like, for example, right here, 4-hourly candle opening with Devil's Mark. Like on 99% we will take it again. We'll just go here and put the lower wick of that 4-hourly candle. Or even hourly candle, doesn't matter. Same goes, for example, for news candles. You know, news candles opening one side without the wick, we will take it. Sooner or later, we will take it. Right, so now we are taking basically that 154 high. We are closing above it, which is nice to see. We can also kind of reduce our risk to this order block low, just to be safe. Okay, so we soup that high of 132 candle. In the same time, if we close below that 203, I would be exiting our long, and then I would be expecting us to take, you know, that 2 p.m. low, at least 2 p.m. low, if not, you know, these lows right here, possibly that low. Internal soup right here. Another internal soup inside the OTE of the previous candle range. Meaning the closure, yeah, the closure right here, bearish. Huge red flag. We'll just exit our long right here. Meaning if we know, you know, what we know right now, we took internals, basically rebalance the previous range, rebalance the range for the shorts, now closing this order block, internal soup, CISD. We can also enter right now, just to run it back to that 2 p.m. candle. In this instance, we should be pretty much okay if we just put our stop loss to that 211 candle high. So just to put it right here. Yep. Okay, strong candle. So now I'm looking for us to take that 2 p.m. candle low. Yep, there we go. Okay, internal sub right there, internal sub right there. So now no touch until we just get out of the range. Okay, now we are kind of escaping the range. So now we are looking for that low of 1232. Again, if we went back inside the range and close above that 221, you know the drill, possible CISD to run it back higher. Okay, there's a strong candle closing above it. Hey, Panda. Internal super highs, we may experience some sort of rebalance. Okay, so now, since we went out of the range and back inside to it, also 4 consecutive candles taking internal liquidity, I'm thinking possible manipulation, soup, and now we should, if we want to go higher, we should be creating the fair swing. Also, we just tapped that 2 p.m. candle right there. So now the closure above 227, that would be confirmation for me that this is the fair swing and we should not go lower than the fair swing low. So we will see, yeah, there's the candle. So now, again, we are closing strongly, we are closing really strongly above that fair swing right there, meaning we should not come back to it. What does it mean? We can put our stop to that low. We don't even need to put it to that possible manipulation low. Why? Because if we take the fair swing, well, then most probably also take the manipulation. So we'll just put it right here. Also, in terms of targets, if we just flip and this is our manipulation, so fair swing, the first TP should be that 207. That should be our first TP. And then I'll be looking for those smooth highs on the left, meaning I would like to see us taking that to develop basically the lunch high. Yeah, okay. Strong candle, this candle closing above yet another CISD basically right here. So another confirmation. Without kind of slowing it down, internal sub at the high. Still nothing bearish yet about this. Internal sub. There we go. Right now we are closing our order block. So if we are not in any trade, this is the next best spot, with our stop loss placement being below that order block. Okay. So now we are taking basically that 207 high, meaning we can take one off right here. We can take one off. We can reduce our risk. We can put our stop loss to that 235 low. And now I would like to see just strong legs basically taking that high, the lunch high. Okay, for now just rebalance of the previous range plus a retest of the previous highs. Not a huge fan of those candles. We need in the next candle to close above that 241 candle, otherwise the closure below that 242, we may go lower, possibly just take that internal liquidity, or yeah, even lower. Okay, closure above that, that's nice. Okay, we can put our stop loss right now below that 241 candle. Okay, so now 2 candles taking internal liquidity right here. This candle closing below basically that 242 candle, not a huge fan of that, to be honest. Internal soup. So now if we close above that 251 candle, we should be okay. If we close below that 252 candle, yeah, 51 candle right here, 52, okay. If we close below that 52 candle, I would be more cautious about the longs, because then we may just rebalance the range. We again may just took internals, or this is the next, you know, positive manipulation, soup, fair swing, blah blah blah. Basically the next model. Okay, so now we are out of trade. We will see if we'll be able to close strongly below these lows right here. If yes, again, we may possibly run back lower. If not, we'll just take internals. Okay, so this candle is just taking the internals for now. We are not closing lower yet. Okay, pushing it lower or higher again. Okay, little accumulation inside the 50% of the previous range that took internal low right here, which by the way is also 50% of the range for the longs. So now the closure like this, basically we took internal lows right here, we in the same time rebalance the bullish range, and now since we are closing about this little accumulation, I would like to see the high to be taken one more time. Also LR right here, kind of confirmation of the order book right there, meaning if you're entering right here, the stop loss technically can go below the same candle, with TP being, you know, that 247 high. Oops, sorry. I'm not a huge fan of the delivery. Internal sub at the high. Big rebalance, this candle closing about that 308 candle. We should take the high in a candle or two. Yep, okay. Also guys, I will just run a few more candles and yeah, we'll be done for today's session. Internal sub at the highs. If we close below that 310 candle, right, a huge red flag. After that, I will be technically looking for these lows to be taken maybe one more time. Maybe not necessarily that low of 257 since it's protected for now, but yeah, we'll see. Internal sub at the highs, flip of that candle could be the next. Yeah, taking that internal low right here. Okay, so now since we closed below that 324, I'll be looking for these lows to be taken one more time. Again, I'm not just sure if we take actually that 257 low, but we should at least take these intervals right here. Okay, we are not yet closing above the 327, 28. If we close strongly above that, you know, another like green flag, let's say, for longs. Internal soup. And we're going a little lower. Okay. Okay, and we took that into low. So now what I'm seeing, LR right here. The closure technically above that 338 could be kind of spark the move to take it back higher in the same time that it's pretty much close to the 50% of the range, from the range high to the range low. Yeah, it's actually 50%. Even technically, if we hold this order block, it also could be pretty much good spot for entry to just again take that liquidity right here. Reasoning we took internals, we're not able to displace lower to the low, you know, so it makes kind of sense to just at least rebalance the previous range, at least rebalance. Closure like that, yeah, nice. That's MOMC. Okay. Alright, boys, we'll end this session now. Do you have guys any questions or anything? About any fractal that we just went over? About anything else? Now is your time to ask questions. Damn, it's pretty late. 11 p.m. right here. Pretty crazy. I'm glad to hear that, Tompan. Yep, Rick, no problem. Alright, guys. So that'll be all for me. And yeah, see you around. Thank you for being here. And yeah, this session was recorded. I will send it to DJ, and once you know he'll post it, you all will be notified. So yeah. Again, thank you. Have a great day, great night, and yeah, bye bye.